All right, let's dive right in to this new CJ Box book.
Battle Mountain.
Yeah, Battle Mountain.
Mm.
We're just working from a single review today, but
Oh, okay.
it sounded pretty interesting, you know?
Yeah.
I always like a good Joe Pickett story. I mean, those who don't know him yet,
Right.
Joe Pickett's a Wyoming game warden, and it's like every time he turns around,
Uh-huh.
there's a mystery waiting for him,
Mhm.
out in the wilderness.
Yep.
And this one sounds like a real doozy, lots of secrets,
Right.
moral dilemmas, all that good stuff. Plus, Box just writes about the Wyoming wilderness like nobody else.
Oh, he really captures it, yeah.
You can practically smell the pine needles.
Exactly. And this reviewer seems to think that this book is like all of that
Oh, yeah.
amplified, like he takes these real world things we hear about on the news, like conflicts between ranchers, hunters, and conservationists,
Oh, yeah.
especially in the bighorns. And then he ties that into these even bigger things
Right.
like climate change and indigenous rights.
Whoa, that's heavy stuff. I mean, it makes you think.
Right.
How do you balance protecting the environment with the people who actually make their living from the land?
Really complicated issues, yeah.
Not a simple answer.
No.
So what kind of mystery are we dealing with in this one? What's the setup?
So it starts with this wildlife biologist,
Okay.
Dr. Elena Vasquez,
Okay.
and she's found dead near her research station. And at first, it seems like maybe an accident.
Uh-huh.
But Joe Pickett, he's no fool, right? He starts noticing things that are just a little off.
Makes you wonder what he sees.
Right. And as he digs deeper, it turns out there's this whole web of corporate schemes,
Okay.
illegal poaching, and get this,
Good.
whispers of corruption, even within Joe's own department.
Oh, that's juicy. Corruption, that always adds another layer.
Oh, definitely.
And I bet Box doesn't skimp on those Wyoming descriptions either.
Not at all, no. The reviewer was just gushing about how he writes about the bighorns.
Yeah.
Like you said, you can practically feel the air, hear the wind.
Mhm.
It's almost like the mountains are a character themselves.
That's what I love about Box.
Mhm.
It's like you're right there with Joe,
Yep.
experiencing it all. And from what you're saying, it sounds like Joe's really wrestling with his conscience in this one.
Oh, absolutely. He's got all these tough decisions to make, right? Like,
Right.
on the one hand, he's a game warden, so he's got to uphold the law.
Oh.
But he's also a husband, a father, part of this community. So when he finds out about these secrets, it's like, how far is he willing to go to expose the truth? Even if it means putting his family in danger.
Wow. That's a tough one.
Big moral dilemmas.
Yeah. Doing the right thing is rarely straightforward. What about Mary Beth, though? Is she still just kind of on the sidelines, worrying?
It seems like she's got a bigger role in this one.
Really?
Yeah, the reviewer mentioned her facing her own challenges, maybe even some danger herself.
Interesting.
So she's not just sitting at home waiting for Joe to come back safe and sound,
That's cool. I like that she's getting more involved.
Yeah, it's definitely adding a new dimension.
Definitely. And of course, we can't forget about Nate.
Oh, Nate Romanowski, right. Joe's,
Enigmatic buddy.
yeah, enigmatic. That's a good word for him.
What's he up to in this one? Still Joe's backup when things go south.
Oh, always. Those survival skills
Yeah.
always come in handy, especially with all the shady characters Joe's running into.
Mm-hmm.
But it sounds like we might see a different side of Nate this time around.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the reviewer mentioned some evolution, maybe more insight into what makes him tick.
Ooh, I'm intrigued. Nate's always been such a mystery himself.
He is.
Like a force of nature.
Yeah?
So how's Box's writing in this one? Still that same style?
It seems so, yeah. The reviewer used words like clean, concise, evocative,
Right.
which fits with what we've seen before. And they also mentioned that he's using those alternating viewpoints again.
I do like that about his books. You get to see things from different angles.
Exactly. It builds that suspense, adds some complexity.
Keeps you guessing.
Yeah.
So what's the overall verdict? Thumbs up or down?
They gave it 4 out of 5 stars.
4 stars. Not bad.
Yeah, they called it a strong entry in the series. Praised the mystery, the suspense, how it ties into real-world stuff.
I am curious about that. Did they say more about how Box is handling those environmental issues?
They did, yeah. They said those themes, like environmental stewardship and social justice, are woven right into the story.
Mm-hmm.
You've got that classic conflict between conservation and development.
Right, like we were saying before.
Exactly. And then they also mention indigenous rights, which is a whole other layer, especially out west,
That's a really complex issue. It's great the Box is tackling it.
Yeah, he's not shying away from those tough conversations.
And that's what makes his book so engaging, right? It's not just a whodunit. It's like, why do we do this to ourselves doing it?
That's a good way to put it.
Makes you think, There were a few things in this review that really caught my attention,
Oh, yeah.
stuff that made me want to grab the book right away.
Yeah.
I'm particularly interested in Dr. Vasquez's research.
Right. What was she working on?
Exactly. The review mentioned something about endangered species,
Oh, that ups the stakes.
hasn't it? And then there's the whole corporate angle, the poaching rings.
Yeah, definitely sounds like there's a lot more going on beneath the surface.
And that comment about some subplots feeling underdeveloped
Mm-hmm.
makes me think there might be even more surprises in store.
Oh, I bet.
And
There's always a
Yeah.
twist with Box.
always. We've covered a lot of ground here.
Yeah, we have.
I feel like we've only just scratched the surface of what Battle Mountain has to offer.
Agreed. There's so much more to explore.
Before we move on to the next part of our deep dive,
Uh-huh.
I'm curious, what's grabbing your attention so far?
Back again for more on Battle Mountain. What's sticking with you from the first part?
It's funny, I keep thinking about that whole idea of the setting almost being like another character.
Oh, yeah.
Box. He's always good with descriptions, but with the bighorns in this one, it sounds like he's really taken it to another level.
Yeah, the Bighorn Mountains, they're not just some background in this book. They really shape the story, the characters, their choices, all that rugged terrain, the weather, the feeling of being isolated. It's like a constant reminder that nature's in charge out there.
Makes me think about Joe's internal struggle, too.
Right.
It's almost like the landscape is mirroring all those moral dilemmas he's facing.
Oh, I see that. The beauty and the danger all mixed together.
Exactly. And that harshness, but also that resilience,
Yeah, it's like the whole landscape becomes this metaphor for how complicated everything is.
Right. There are no easy answers.
Nope, no clear-cut paths,
Yeah, it'd be easy to get lost out there.
literally and figuratively.
Exactly. And it sounds like that whole idea of moral ambiguity, it's not just Joe's thing.
No.
Like Mary Beth, we were talking about her and how she's got her own stuff going on.
Right.
It's not just Joe out there wrestling with his conscience.
Yeah.
It's everyone, right?
Everyone's trying to figure out what's right, but the world's full of gray areas.
Yeah, exactly. That's actually what I like about Box's characters.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
They're not perfect, They mess up. They doubt
They're
themselves.
human.
Yeah, exactly. Like people you might actually meet out in the bighorns.
That's what makes them feel so real, so believable.
I remember the reviewer mentioned that too, that Box doesn't do that whole good guy versus bad guy thing.
Uh-huh.
He shows both sides, the rancher struggling to make a living,
Mm-hmm.
the conservationists trying to protect the land.
Complicated,
But
right?
not simple solutions, no.
He makes you think, what would I do if I were in that situation?
Makes it personal.
Yeah.
And then on top of all that, you've got the suspense.
Oh, yeah.
Box is so good at building that tension, that sense of danger.
Oh, definitely. And this book, it sounds like it's got plenty of that.
From what we've heard, yeah, corporate schemes, poaching rings,
Hmm.
and don't forget, there's that possible corruption within Joe's own department.
Yeah, so the danger could come from anywhere, right?
Keeps you on your toes.
Yeah.
Which, of course, brings us back to Nady.
Oh, Nate.
The reviewer hinted that his character might be changing in this book.
Evolving. Yeah.
What kind of evolution do you think we'll see?
Well, Nate, he's always been a bit of a wild card, right?
Mm-hmm.
Loyal to Joe, but he's got that dark side.
Yeah.
Maybe this time we'll see him dealing with the consequences of his actions,
Okay.
facing some of those demons he's been carrying around.
Yeah, that could be really powerful to see. He's always been so intense.
A force of nature.
Literally.
To see him having to be vulnerable, that'd be interesting.
Don't forget, the reviewer said some subplots felt underdeveloped.
True.
Maybe one of those threads is about Nate,
Like his past or something.
Could be. It might even set the stage for something bigger down the line in future books.
That's a really good point. It's like we're seeing how Box is setting things up.
Long game.
Exactly. And speaking of how he writes,
Yeah.
what do you think about the whole alternating viewpoints thing? How does that work in Battle Mountain?
It's clever, right?
Yeah.
Because you get to see the story from different angles, not just Joe's.
Yeah. It's like you're in the other characters' heads for a bit, understanding what they're thinking,
Mm-hmm.
why they do what they do. They're secrets,
Definitely adds some layers to the story.
and it keeps you guessing. But it also makes it more than just a puzzle to solve.
Oh, how so?
When you understand the other characters, even the bad guys,
Yeah.
you can kind of empathize with them more.
I see what you mean. Makes the whole story more engaging, right?
They're human. Because they're not just villains, they're people with their own reasons.
Right, their own beliefs, their own desires.
And sometimes those desires, they're not so different from our own,
Makes you think, doesn't it?
It does.
Mhm.
And that's what I appreciate about Box.
Uh-huh.
He doesn't give you easy answers.
Nope.
He trusts you to figure things out for yourself.
He respects his readers.
Exactly. We've talked a lot about the environment and social issues, but do you think there's a bigger message here? Like about what it means to be human?
Oh, definitely. I think Battle Mountain, like a lot of Box's work, it's really about resilience.
Resilience. Yeah, the characters, they go through tough times, they make mistakes,
Mm.
but they find a way to keep going.
Yeah, I see that.
It's a message that speaks to all of us, I think.
Absolutely. We all face tough times. It's how we deal with them that matters. You know, how we pick ourselves up and keep going.
And often that strength comes from other people, right?
Our families, our communities.
Yeah, knowing you're not alone.
Really powerful message, especially these days.
When the world feels so divided,
Yeah, it's a good reminder that we need each other.
we're stronger together.
Definitely. It's amazing how Box manages to bring all these ideas together. The mystery, the characters, the setting.
All while exploring those deeper themes about the human experience.
Makes Battle Mountain something special, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. It's a story that stays with you. What's resonating most with you so far? Any particular character or theme grabbing your attention?
It's wild, isn't it? How Box takes this, like, Wyoming game warden
Yeah.
and uses him to explore these, like, big questions,
Right. It's like he's using Joe Pickett to show us ourselves in a way.
Exactly. Reflecting all our anxieties and stuff.
And the choices Joe has to make, they feel real, Like we could be facing those same dilemmas.
It's not just about solving a crime. It's about, like, figuring out how to live in the world.
Yeah, definitely. One thing we haven't touched on much is the family aspect.
Oh, right. Joe's personal life.
Yeah, it seems like a big part of this book, too.
Seems like it's always been important in the series, right?
Definitely. But in Battle Mountain, I get the sense that those family bonds are really getting tested.
Yeah, because Joe's not just dealing with bad guys.
No.
He's got to protect his family from them, too.
Right. And try to be a good husband and father at the same time.
Talk about pressure. Like,
Yeah.
how do you balance all that?
And Mary Beth, she's not just waiting around for him to come home either.
No, it sounds like she's right there in the thick of it.
Yeah, the reviewer made a point of saying how strong and resourceful she is. Like, she's really stepping up in this one.
Yeah, she's not just Joe's wife. She's her own person.
Exactly, facing her own challenges.
Makes you think about what it means to be a family, right?
Sticking together when things get tough.
Supporting each other.
That resilience again.
Yeah, finding the strength to keep going.
It's not just about solving the mystery. It's about how we handle the tough stuff in life.
In those Behorn Mountains, that whole wilderness setting.
Yeah.
Do you think that plays into the resilience theme, too?
Oh, for sure. The Behorns, they're beautiful, but they're also dangerous.
Yeah.
It's like a constant reminder that nature can be both powerful and fragile.
Right.
And the people who live there, they've had to learn to adapt.
To respect the land.
Yeah, to find a way to live with it.
Like the landscape itself teaches them how to be strong.
Exactly. It's a lesson we can all take away.
No matter where we live.
It's about knowing that there are going to be challenges.
Storms to weather, mountains to climb.
But we have the strength to get through them.
We can adapt, we can overcome.
That's a powerful message, especially these days when things feel so uncertain.
It's a good reminder that we're tougher than we think we are.
And that we're not alone in this.
We have each other.
We have communities, families.
Exactly. It's kind of amazing how Box brings all this together.
It is, isn't it?
Like it's a mystery, it's a thriller, but it's also so much more.
He really gets the human experience,
Yeah, he makes you think about those big questions.
Makes you feel things.
Leaves you wanting more. This whole deep dive, it's really made me appreciate Box's work even more.
Me too. Yeah.
It's more than just entertainment.
It's like food for thought.
Definitely. So, for you listening out there,
yeah, we hope this has piqued your interest.
Made you want to check out Battle Mountain for yourself.
Or maybe even explore some of Box's other books.
Or just go out and explore the world around you with fresh eyes.
Keep those brains working. Keep asking those questions.
You're diving deep.
That's what it's all about. Thanks for joining us.